I'd like to get into where you talk about living your purpose. And that's a chapter in there. But, General Goldfein, we have to get into this. You left the academy as a cadet. And I think that's something that not many people are familiar with. To ride across the country on a bike with a guitar on your back for part of the time, and you sent it to Dawn after a little while. Mini bear in your shirt to find your purpose. Was there a moment during the 6 months that hit you like lightning? You knew that this was your purpose, or was it a gradual meeting of those different Americans you kind of came across?
Definitely gradual. It was something that just built up over time. I used to joke because we both knew Chairman John McCain, and I always had great respect for him. And I remember one time in his office, I said, Chairman, I got to share with you that I lived in constant fear during every hearing that you were going to hold up a piece of paper on camera and say, General, I got your transcript from the Air Force Academy. You got to be kidding me, right? And he laughed and he said, trust me, if you looked at my transcript at Annapolis, he goes, I'm the last guy that would have ever asked that question. But we made a mutual decision here. Sometimes just things all come together. I'd written a paper on finding my purpose about the same time that there was a professor from Annapolis that was visiting and talking about a sabbatical program that Annapolis had started. And so they started talking about it. And then this paper made it, and I got called in. They said, hey, we're thinking about starting this program, called Stop Out, designed to stop people from getting out. We've read your paper. What would you do if you could take a year off? And I said, wow, if I could do it, I'll tell you, I would start by going to Philmont Scout Ranch, and be a backcountry ranger because my passion was for the outdoors, and do that. And then I would go join my musical hero, Harry Chapin. Oh, by the way, came to the United States Air Force Academy in the early 60s.
Yes.
Right? Left here, built a band, and wrote the hit song Taxi. So I would go join him as a roadie.
Wow.
And just sort of see whether music and the outdoors, which are my passions, are what it's all about for me. Well, we lost contact with the Chapin, connection. So I ended up on this bicycle riding around the country. And, so many families took me in, and so many towns that I rode into. I found that if I just went to the library and said, hey, tell me a little bit about the history of this town, the librarian would call like the last, 3 or 4 of the seniors of the town. They'd all rush over to tell me the story of,
wow.
This particular little town, right? And then someone would often say, hey, where are you staying tonight? I said, well, I'm staying in my tent. And they said, no, come stay with me. So gradually over time, I got to know America and came to the conclusion when I had to make the decision to come back or not, that this country is really worth defending, that these people are hardworking, that want to make the world better for their kids and their grandkids, and they deserve a United States Air Force, the best Air Force on the planet, to defend them. So, when I came back my last 2 years, and I always love sharing this with the cadets because some of them are fighting it, some of them have embraced it, and all I tell them is, hey, I've done both. And all I can tell you is the sooner you embrace it and find your purpose, this place is a lot more fun.
Truth in that. Yes. Yes. Well, and Dr. Wilson, how did you know you were living your purpose?
Well, I've had a lot of different chapters to my life.
Yes.
And we can intellectualize it on why I made a certain decision at a certain time. But there were doors that opened that I never even knew were there. But at each time and at each junction, there was a moment where somehow I just knew. And at South Dakota Mines is a good example. I had lost a race for the United States Senate. I actually had some interns. I benefited from a lousy job market, and I had fantastic interns, and we were helping them through the loss. They're young, they were passionate. They as Churchill said, the blessing and the curse of representative government is one and the same. The people get what they choose. And so I was helping them through that.
Right.
And one of them said, well, Dr. Wilson, you're really great with students. You should be a college president somewhere. And you should, Texas Tech needs a president, and you should apply there because that's where this kid was going to school. And I said, well, Evan, I don't think they're looking for me. But it did cause me to start thinking about it. And what I had come close. I had been asked about a college presidency once before. And I started looking at it. and talking to headhunters and so forth. And initially, South Dakota Mines didn't seem like a great fit because I'm a Bachelor of Science degree from here, but my PhD is in a non-scientific discipline, and it's all engineers and scientists. But as I went through the process, it just felt more and more right. And on the day of the final interviews that evening, it was snow in South Dakota. There was a concert in the old gym. I mean, this is an engineering school. And they had a faculty member there who had been there for 40 years.
Wow.
Who taught choral music. And the students stood up and they started singing their warm-up, which starts out in just one voice and eventually gets to 16-part harmony.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's in Latin, and it's music is a gift from God. And they go through it once. And then, in this 40th anniversary concert, about 50 people from the audience stand up and start singing. It's like a flash mob almost.
Oh, wow.
These were all alumni.
Oh, my goodness.
Who came back, 40 years of alumni, to be there for that concert for him.
Wow.
And they all went up on stage and sang together in this just stunningly beautiful concert by a bunch of engineers. And I thought, there's something special going on here that's worth being part of. And there are times when you just know. And it's the same with becoming Cabinet Secretary for Children, Youth, and Families. That was not on the plan. And there's just a moment where I knew that was what I should do now, how I should use my gifts now. And you hope that you're right in making those decisions.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this leadership lesson, watch the full episode by hitting the thumbnail here and subscribe now to get the latest episodes of Long Blue Leadership delivered directly to your YouTube feed or wherever you get your podcasts.